Vegetables that you would plant in early spring are also the same vegetables chickens love to eat. I want my chickens to roam around the garden beds, but not in the garden beds. So this was my solution, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Now, I didn't invent this. I was watching a channel called My Self-Sufficient Me, something like that, and he did this to his raised beds. So since I had all this water piping, this was very inexpensive for me to do. And it's really very simple. You just start by putting a post in each corner, and then I put 2 on the sides for extra support. And you push those posts down as far as you can, and then just put your hoops over them and push down. Now, you want to have sturdier posts than I'm using here. This is what I had on hand, but in some of the beds I had to go back and replace those because there was too much bend. But those little green ones you get at the garden shop work just fine. But if you're like me, you might find putting that netting on is the biggest challenge. What I'm using here is what you get at any garden shop. It's black. It's referred to as bird netting. I think this was 6 feet long. I originally got it to use on the bird coop. This kind of netting comes rolled into itself. In other words, you have to stretch the whole thing out and unfold it and then cut it before you can use it. I remember the first time I used it, I rolled it up in a ball and threw it in the trash because it just gets tangled and tangled against itself and everything catches in it. It's a pain in the butt. The hardest part was putting the bird netting on. It's just, I got all twisted. And it's on pretty good. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. And I'm going to fix it here, 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 and here so that I can pull this up and work on it. It's attached at the bottom with zip ties, and when I want to work in that bed, I just slip them up and I can go underneath the netting. I have used so many different kinds of bird netting, and it's not to keep the overhead birds out, at least not at the moment. It's to keep my ground birds, my chickens, out. So when I put this one up, I realized I didn't really need to go all the way to the top. It just needs to be at the bottom, mostly. So this was an okay netting. The black that I used on that is really difficult to use. This is a little better. It doesn't stick to itself, but still, it's not easy to work with. But I have found a netting I love, and that's this. I'll put a link below. No advertising dollars on my part. But this is, it's still plasticky, but it's woven. It doesn't stick together at all. It's really easy to distribute. I mean, we haven't done such a great job. We're just keeping the chickens out. And it'll do a fine job of that. But it's just easy to work, and it looks better, I think. Look at this. I think it's a tomato. It's crazy. So here's an example of another kind of netting I'd never buy again. You know, this is also a different color, but it's, you can see it's plastic. And half the time it's not cut. And, you know, it's a mess. This is, when I say 6 feet, this was 6 feet wide. The other one was also 6 feet wide. And that's kind of a common width. The lengths vary depending upon how much you want to pay. It's all made in China. There's no U.S. bird netting made anywhere. But some are more difficult than others. So that black one that you get at Home Depot and garden centers, and this green one I got online at Amazon, that was cheap. I gotta admit, it was like $7 for a roll, or a wad, really. It's just because it's folded into itself, you just start out wrong. So going with the new approach of rolling out the netting around the fence area and then pulling it up so that I pull it down if I need to get in, seems to be working out for me really well. This is the orchard side of the house, and this is